BonesDK Golf Cat, presented by Bones Brothers Media.
Another podcast and another week. We can start it off with a member of the BonesDK family in the winner's circle. Shouting out to B Covey 7. This is his second 5-digit cash of the season. That puts him in the $50,000 club, BonesDK, for 1 year going. B Covey. And those are real dollars and cents, folks. That's not monopoly money. Welcome to the program, BonesDK. Any shout out you want to give to Covey? I know he's a good buddy of yours, and of course you are both the guys that ditched me when you went to Ogle Bay this week or this earlier this summer also. So any kind words you'd like to impart on Covey?
Of course, man. I love Covey. He's a big listener to the cast. He always has been since the beginning. He texts me and says, thank you for the content. He literally had the lineup I had except with Rory, and I had Cam Smith over it. And I got to give credit to Wildman as well with that Rory call. I should have listened to him, but I went Cam Smith instead. I thought he was going to ride, the streak. I was wrong. It cost me a lot of money, but hey, I'll take the cash even without Rory. But yeah, huge shout out to Covey. He's the man.
Covey has said all along too, and he did it again this week. Those are all podcast picks, man. And speaking of podcast picks, Wildman, you had a huge one last week with Swafford. I think I deserve a little bit of credit for the Rory also because I called it last week. You're never going to see Rory that low at 9,400.
You did.
But Bones, TW Man 66, you had a huge call with the Swafford pick. Hopefully we can get some more of that out of you this week.
We're feeling good, man. Ready to roll. It's always nice when we come into events where it's not a rotating course. So we have a lot of data, a lot of historical eye test here at East Lake. And so we're prepared, ready to go. I also want to shout out Wolf Goat. This is where Wolf Goat hit for 62 and change last year with the podcast, backing Sebastian Munoz, a guy 1 year ago today. We said, you maybe have never heard of him, but he can do some damage. We feel pretty good this week too.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge shout out to Wolf Gold. He is in the $50,000 club. That's 3 members of the BonesDKGolf family with bracelets and in the $50,000 club. And again, real dollars and cents, not monopoly money. Looking to have another big score this week, BonesDK. It is kind of a weird tournament, though. Guys are going to start out at 10 under, for example, can't lay, and he's going to get those position points. But tell us a little bit about the stats you're looking at and how do the position points affect the way that you're going to be building your lineup this week?
Yeah, I think this is the number one question. What is going on with this, these starting scores here? And I'll say this, position points matter, but these guys starting at, 2, 3 under can catch, can't lay with a lot of birdies. So you can eliminate those position points just by scoring a couple birdies. So it's just something to look at this week. A big stat I'm looking at is driving accuracy. That's pretty much the main stat that I'm looking at. And then obviously ball striking and putting and all that good stuff is Bermuda greens. But I'm looking at the guys that don't get into trouble off the tee because that's going to be very important this week.
Why is that?
It's just long grass. It's just been known to be a hard course. I think 19 out of the 30 players last year shot under par for the whole entire tournament. Wildman will go over that, but yeah, you just notice in history that it's a more difficult course, meaning you wanted to get it in the fairway. If you shoot it right or left, there's a thick rough there that is going to be a lot of trouble.
Tell us a little bit about it, Wildman 66. East Lake Golf Course. It is in Atlanta, Georgia. What about the length? What about the greens? What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, par 70, grass greens, like Rob said, puts a premium on hitting fairways because of the rough length. It's not really a course that's set up, given the narrow fairways, for bombers to go out there and do the Bryson thing, if you will, which is just grip it and rip it and hope that you can get short wedges in from the rough. The rough will be terrible this week. It's historically very bad and very hard to hit fairways here, well below the tour average typically. And if you're watching the Weather Channel, Hurricane Ida just came through, dumped several inches of rain on the area. So the grass is going to be plush and thick as it is already. So we're targeting guys that can hit the fairway. Not an overwhelmingly long course, but definitely a premium on hitting fairways to give yourself opportunities. The winning score here is really rarely over or better than 12 under par. So it plays difficult. It's a par 70, and guys are only getting to 9, 10, 11 under. So, you're going to have to cream of the crop style tournament,
And Wild Man, you're talking about stroke play without the score already added in. So I mean, you don't plan on Cantley winning at 12 under, correct? Or is that what you mean?
No, well, for example, right. So DJ won the tour championship last year at 21 under. He shot 11 under for the 72 holes. Xander Schauffele, believe it or not, got credit as the low 72 hole winner in terms of the official world golf ranking. However, DJ gets the trophy because of the starting score. So it's definitely an anomaly in terms of like how the PGA Tour works. I've never really seen anything like this. But yeah, like you said, I mean, look, we're going after the guys that can make all the birdies. DJ was the first number 1 seed to win the FedEx Cup since 2009. Tiger Woods did it. 9 of the last 11 winners have only come, if you adjusted all the scoring with this format, have come from 4 under or better. So that's kind of the target if you're thinking about getting that 30-point bonus. But I want to say one other thing, and then we'll move on. Like, there's a lot of people saying like, "Look, guy's 10 under. How could you ever come back?" No, nobody's ever come back from the Masters worse than 7 back or something like that. But that's the starting score on the 55th hole of the tournament when you bring that data into play. So like, over the course of 72 holes, I think anybody in this field can beat anybody else by 10 shots.
Okay, interesting take there. We are looking at some of these salaries, Bones DK, and I think there's a little bit of like questions here too, because you can understand why Cantlay, who by the way improved his world ranking to 4th in the world, if you can believe that. I mean, he's a quiet fellow, doesn't get a whole lot of play. He is an assassin at this point when it comes to being a professional golfer and winning tournaments. Only 3-time winner on the tour this year. So it's clear to see why his salary is at $13,400 because he's also getting those position points. But John Rahm, we all love him. We know what a great golfer he is. He's at 13,000 and he's not getting quite as many strokes there. What is he starting? 5 back, maybe even 6 back of Cantlay. DeChambeau is also up there at 12,300. So he's 1,000 less than Cantlay. But again, Cantlay just outlasted him in 6 holes. So, is there any value there with Bryce? And then Finau, who is starting at 8 under par, comes in at 11,800. You can see why Finau would be at that price point. So number one, why are Rahm and DeChambeau up there so high, do you think? And how does that affect your ability to make a lineup this week? Do any of them fall in there? Rahm seems like a pretty risky play at 13,000.
Well, actually, I love John Rahm here, and here's a little narrative. It doesn't mean it's true, but like Patrick Cantlay is trying to hold these guys off, right? He wants to maybe play a more conservative game. I don't think Wildman necessarily totally agrees with me here, but you get John Rahm who needs to play to win. He's going to try to hit birdies, and that's my point. You find guys down here like the 4 and 3 under, 6 under. These guys need to make birdies. They're going to have to play good. So they're going to score a lot of points to try to make a comeback here. Patrick Cantlay might play a little more defense since he has that lead. But, hey, man, you get Rahm with a birdie. Let's say Rahm starts birdie in the first 2 holes like he probably will, and Cantlay starts +1. It's a one-stroke match 4 holes in. So I'm not looking too much into the starting positions here because especially when you go down here, you got like Brooks Koepka at 2 under and Burns all the way at 4 under. Burns is starting T6. Koepka's starting T16. A birdie and a bogey, they're tied again right there. I mean, it's just not – I'm not too worried about it. I'm looking at the different side of the tournament. I'm not looking at the starting positions. I'm looking at this tournament as starting all even and who can outscore each player. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does make sense. But the position points come into play every week in these DraftKings contests, Wildman. So I don't think you can be dismissive of it. And I do think you need to consider that Cantlay just came back and literally like ran in every single putt. He's confident as hell right now. And I totally get what you're saying, Bones DK, about playing defensive. There's no doubt about that. $15 million on the line, though. This guy's the 4th ranked player in the world, Wildman. Is Cantlay worth 13,400? And then what do you think about the analysis that Bones DK just gave there?
I don't think he's worth it. And I think he'll get backed by a lot of people because they watch that, there's going to be recency bias to him. Let's be honest. The guy played really, really well. Putted arguably better than Tiger's ever putted in a single event. But really, ironically, Bryson gave it to him. You know, I mean, Bryson had how many opportunities to change the narrative this week by hitting a 4-footer or a 6-footer? He had more than one opportunity to do that, and I think we'd have a different, thought process on Cantlay this week had Bryson knocked in one of those short ones. But again, you're talking about 15 million up top. Let's be honest. Like, I think there is something to say about aggressive nature, especially for the guys down low, because this is the last event. Everything resets after this event. So there's nothing to lose. They're already in. There's no cut. They're guaranteed a $400,000 paycheck. But unlike a normal tour event also, where shooting the Sunday 66 that moves you up the board 20 spots and puts $30,000 in your pocket, shooting a Sunday 66 out here could move you up to like 5th place and win you $1 million, like you're winning at a normal tour event. So you got extreme cash prize changes as you climb the board. But again, yeah, absolutely. I think Cantlay is walking in with pressure and an expectation that he's going to win. He'll probably finish in the top 5. But I do want to say one other thing. I think Rob said something about like 19 guys or so were even or better out of 30 2 years ago. Last year was 14 guys were under par, so less than half the field. So if Cantlay's one of those guys that just, comes out and grinds out a bunch of 70s, shoots 1 under on the event, he's probably going to drop down to like 6th or 7th. And again, birdies are always going to outweigh this. This is so weird that we're talking about all these position things before they've played any holes. Normally we're talking about what's going to happen on Sunday. But the lineup that won all the money at this event last year had 3 guys start at 3 under, a guy start at 2 under, and a guy start at 1 under. And then it had JT at 7 under.
Okay, so I mean, that's really good analysis, and that's good to know. So it is absolutely possible for that to happen, to get some value out of those lower guys. But let's start with the higher guys here, Bones DK. We have about 10 players, I think, that are 10,000 or above. Some of them obviously getting more strokes than others here. Anybody you're building your lineup here, do you see 2, maybe 1 and 1As that you could get in this week and then get some scrubs at the bottom? How are you going to build your lineup with this top structure here? That's top tier structure.
Yeah, listen, shout out Patrick Cantlay. I love that guy. He was so fun to watch. I had him in all my lineups last week. It was great. But guess what? That last week's tournament kind of imaged Muirfield. And that's where Patrick Cantlay had won twice already that year. So that's kind of why I was going after Cantlay here. It's a different tournament, different course. There's a lot of history here. I don't know if I'm going to get to Cantlay this week. If there's 2 guys I'm going to play this week, and I think a lot of people are on Tony, I think a lot of people are on Bryson and Cantlay, I think it's a clear favorite here. Jon Rahm and Justin Thomas, both those guys are playing so great right now, and they both are hungry to win this. Obviously, everybody is, but let's go down to Justin Thomas here. Talking about off the tee, tee to green. Look at that approach here. I mean, this guy is one of the best players in the world. And I'd love him to come back from behind and win this tournament. Jon Rahm is just playing the best golf of his life. This is Bermuda green, so look at that. He doesn't like Bermuda, not that bad, but look at him off the tee. Just great off the tee. I'm not too worried about his irons last week. He did fall apart a little bit. But let's take – if you what tournament was it? The Memorial. He should have won that tournament. And then he has an 8th, 1st, 3rd, 3rd, 9th. There's just no denying this guy. So I think those 2 guys are by far my 2 favorite plays in the 10K range.
He is red hot right now, $13,000. We love value on this podcast. If you do run with Rahm, though, Wildman 66, you're going to have to get somebody low to compensate for that very high salary this week. And don't forget, Rahm's only, starting at 6 under? So I'm not second-guessing Bones DK at all. He just had some great facts to back up his case. But where do you fall in this top tier, Wildman?
I mean, look, this is the cream of the crop. It's even a stronger field than a major, really, given the fact that it's so difficult to qualify for. So, I mean, you're not going to find a lot of fades necessarily that you like here. You got to pick the guy that you think fits the mold. To me, it plays a lot like Caves Valley last week. It's not going to be as short and as easy, and the greens aren't going to necessarily be set up for as many birdies, but We need guys that hit the fairway. We said chicken and the egg last week, I think. It's the chicken and the egg this week. Do you want the guy that's in the fairway that has every opportunity to make a birdie, or the guy that you hope can run in the 25-footers? Case in point, Rory versus Cam Smith, right? Like, Rory put himself in position in the fairway off every tee to have a birdie opportunity. Now, Smith did okay, but just missed a ton of putts. But for me, yeah, we're looking at guys that mash the fairway. And I want to say one other thing. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but, like, aside from maybe Cantlay and maybe Finau, and then Bryson would be on the fringe of that, starting at 7 under. You know, the results of the 72-hole event are pretty much going to mirror the top 10 outside of maybe the winner. And what I want to say there is that Schauffele has won the 72-hole stroke event here twice in the last 5 years, and so has Rory. The only one that wasn't was Tiger. But if you look back at the leaderboard from last year, Xander Schauffele won the event at 15 under, finished second. Scotty Scheffler, and he started at 3 under, by the way. Scotty Scheffler started at 3 under, shot 12 under for second in the 72-hole stroke play, and he finished in the top 5 of this event. So again, like, let's not get too crazy about where the guys are starting, and play the guys that we believe are incredible. And again, I'm going right back to Rory, I think. I mean, hit the fairway, comfortable, playing well, confidence. I like Rory here in the top tier.
Yeah, there is some really interesting plays here in that $9,000 range. Abraham Answer starts it at 9,600. He has a surprisingly high world ranking also. If he's not top 10, I think he's top 15. Schauffele at 8,900. Harris English, who we love so much on the podcast, at 8,700. Burns, you just mentioned, starting at 4 under, I believe, 8,500. Morikawa at 8,300. And I'll tell you, nobody's talking about Louis. He's going to get into the next tier at 76. But, man, there is some really good value down here at the bottom of the board. Koepka, 7,800. I mean, theoretically, guys, you could get like a Morikawa, Rory, Koepka lineup, and that would be considered scrubs in this event. And we just talked about Rory winning. We kind of got burnt on him last week. Bones DK, where are you falling in this mid-tier, man?
Yeah, is this going to be the moment I jump onto Rory and he blows it when I didn't play him last week and he got it done? I fear that, you know. But there's not really arguments there with Rory's stats. I really do like Rory. The thing about Rory and Xander, though, look where they're starting at 2 and 2 under, and then Brooks Koepka is starting at 2 under, right? So let's just point that out. All three starting in the same position. Rory, 9,300. Xander, 8,900. Brooks, 7,800? 7,800 for Brooks Koepka? It's just, you know, it's weird to me. And
Louis at 76 is weird, man. I mean, I know he's in the next tier, but I don't know how, like, I mean, Louis and Brooks would literally be scrubs in your lineup when you compare it to, like, the Rahm and the Justin Thomas that we were just talking about.
Yeah, and it's because they're where they're starting. But, hey, if you shoot at 8 under one day, like these guys can, I know that's an extreme number, but, hey, give them a 63 one day, 65, they're right back in the tournament. But
give them an eagle bonus. Give them a back-to-back bonus or something. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, they are capable. They're the world's best players. And if they get hot, nobody gets hotter. You know what I mean? Nobody.
Oh, yeah. Let's say you start John Rahm, JT, that's my two favorites there. It gives you an average of 6,500 down below, which skips a lot of this range, which I don't love. Colin Morikawa, he's hurt. I love Morikawa. I love him, but he's hurt. You just can't play him right now. Sam Burns, he seems like a no-cut specialist. I just think he's a little overpriced here. He's like number 33 in the world. He has been playing amazing. But his off the tee, I mean, you don't need to look at stats too much here, but his off the tee is a little shaky. Sam Burns is also a par 5 specialist, and there's only 2 par 5s in this tournament. So that's like whenever you have 4 par 5s, I look at Sam Burns and Hovland all the time. They're like the best par 5 players in the world. But now there's only 2 par 5s. So, that doesn't give them the huge advantage. I agree with you. I don't know. I was just going to see if you can get both these guys in, and you can. The way it is structured this week, you have someone down at $5,000. So technically, you could get Rahm, JT, Brooks. Excuse me, that was M, who a lot of people were talking about. But that's, Lou,
Yeah.
my screen, my screen's good up. So you have 50.
You can still do it, though. You can still do it.
Still do it. A lot of people talking about in, but that's my point. And my point is that this is a no-cut event. So this is the week to take a risk on a Stars and Scrubs because there is no risk if they miss it. If EVR or Neiman or Garcia go out there and shoot 11 under in the tournament, they are paying off extremely. They're going to jump into the top 15 and, again, get those position points there. So, yeah, this week I'm going to get risky, but you got to look down here and play some of these.
I mean, geez, look at some of these names down here at the bottom, though.
Yeah.
Wild man. I mean, gosh, we love Matsuyama, 6,400. Connors, who we love so much, won some guys' money in the Bones DK family this year, 6,200. I know they're starting back, but it's exactly what Bones just said and kind of what I harped upon just a moment ago, too. You get some of these guys going eagle, birdie, and putting together a streak of some sort. Maybe the position points don't matter that much. Remember also earlier in the year, I can't remember who it was. Was it Abraham Answer? Hit the ace and gave him like a 15-point jump. That was like when I was in Florida with you, Bones DK. I mean, TW Man.
That was Troy Merritt, and that lineup with Troy Merritt beat us.
By half point.
Okay. By half
point.
Yeah, by half point.
Point being, though, again, these are the best players in the world right now. That's why they're here playing in the last event, the Tour Championship. You could get an ace. You could get a back-to-back eagle like you saw Spieth have last week, man. So, Wild man, where are you falling out in the mid-tier? And you may as well just talk about the bottom tier here, too. Let's just have it all out here. Who are you liking this week out of the whole tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I said this at Muirfield a few months ago, and I'm going to say it about Eastlake as well. Plays like a major, not just because of the field strength, but because of the premium off the tee. And so I know it's the theme today, like cream rising to the top, right? But I mean, if you pick any of these guys, if you pick Brooks Koepka, right, and you look at his results in the majors versus, let's say, results of a Sam Burns in the majors, Sam Burns is $700 more than Brooks Koepka, guys. And the biggest prize pool of all time is on the line.
It's crazy.
And let me tell you this, like Schauffele shot 15 under last year to win the stroke play event. So let's say that Brooks shoots 10 under, which would win this event most of the time. Now we'll play a little softer. So I think maybe some guys can throw a little bit more darts, and there might be a little bit more of a need to hit it longer off the tee. But look, 10 under for Koepka starting at the 200 position would have finished him 6th last year. It's so doable. Like we're looking for guys really that we think can top 8 the 72-hole scoring event. So Brooks is one of those guys for sure. The other guy's Uzi, right? Like you said, Uzi, he's kind of like, you kind of like forgot about him because he didn't show up at the Northern Trust, played the BMW, didn't really get any TV time. He's not that popular of a guy anyhow. And, ho-hum, whatever he finished, 25th, 29th or whatever. Coming in, like, he's the silkiest, smoothest swinger on tour. Usually hits it straight and can do some damage.
We're off him right now, too. I just don't feel like there's a lot of people talking about him. Forgetting about him is a great way to describe it there. Wow, man.
Yeah, and you're talking about a guy who finished in the top 3 in multiple majors this year, plays the hardest courses against the toughest fields the best. The other guy I want to mention is Sergio. 6 top 10s here, 2 runner-ups.
Played good last week also.
Yeah, he's hitting it as good as he can. I love Sergio when the pressure's off. When he can't melt down. He tried to melt down last week.
Yeah, he did.
If you saw him, Chili dipped that bunker shot 3 times.
That was bad.
But look, ball striking wise, he's in the galaxy of Rory McIlroy in terms of tee to green. His best is probably like right there next to Rory's as far as off the tee to green go. No cut, no pressure. He's starting at the bottom. What if you get 10, 11, 12 under out of Sergio? You're probably going to find him in like 7th in the event. So look at him too, major winner.
I don't know that we're going to get a flyer of the week from TW Man 66 this week, only because the field is so limited. So Bones DK, any final thoughts you would like to offer up before we sign off for the final time of the season?
Well, I'll start with this. I'm playing Scotty Scheffler. There you go. I'm playing Scotty. He shot like 12 under last year. This fits him well. But then you got these guys down here. Hideki seems to be sticking out a little bit. Corey Connors, Daniel freaking Berger, who chipped in on 18 to make the cut and cost me that win in the Thunderdome. But I think I might go back to Daniel Berger this week. I mean, let's just look at him real quick. Only $5,800. Had a 64 here on Saturday last year. Didn't follow up too much. But, hey, 2 bogeys last week. And you're going to want to look at bogey avoidance in this tournament because of, like you said, if you just hit it down the fairway and make par, that's actually pretty good this week. This is a tough course. So I'm looking at Daniel Berger, one, because he just burnt me so many times, and I just finally want to play him. And 2, I think he's a legit player. He's number 18 in the world, 7th at the U.S. Open this year, 8th at the Open, 5th at the WGC, 1 Pebble Beach this year. So I'm just looking at that bogey avoidance. Look at this guy. He doesn't make doubles. He barely makes bogey. And he can make 16 birdies with 0 or like 2 bogeys this week. That's going to win.
You talking about Berger?
Yeah, I'm talking about Berger. Yeah.
Sorry, I dropped out there a little bit.
Yeah.
Berger hasn't made a bogey since the Pirates were in the playoffs.
He had 3 bogey-free rounds last week. He had 2 bogeys in the same round. So he had 3 bogey-free rounds. Those are bonus points that you're definitely going to want this week. And sub 70. He shot 70s, but somehow, I mean, man, that guy's consistent. So he just checks the boxes of what kind of player you want this week. Hits it down the fairway and has like a 15-footer for birdie every hole. That's perfectly fine as long as he can make some putts.
I really like your take on Sergio Wild, man. Is there a flyer of the week? Would he be your flyer of the week at 5,400? I mean, he's 4th from the bottom in pricing. I mean, and he played great last week, and there's a lot of money at stake,
Edge, he's the flyer of the week, and here's why. I've already given you several reasons, but here's why. Whenever you're playing in these big events, these Millie Maker lineups, you always find Sergio in there. Because he's always low owned and he does more than everybody expects him to do. Because everybody expects him to crumble, right? like an English muffin. But I mean, yeah, you just tend to see him up there in big lineups. Getting him at 5,400 is crazy. And the idea that one of the best ball strikers of the last 25 years can't find it, is crazy. I mean, he's got 20 worldwide wins on the European Tour. He's a 10-time winner on the PGA Tour, a major winner, 2 runner-ups here. He's played well at the Players. He's got a lot of reasons to back him, especially in a no-cut event in a short field where ball striking's at a premium. The other thing I want to say is this. We're looking at some of the most elite players in the best pricing positions you'll ever find them. We've been saying this has kind of been a theme of ours. You're never going to find an opportunity ever again to get Schauffele, McIlroy, Koepka, Scotty Scheffler, Harris English, maybe you could throw in there Oosthuizen, all in the same lineup. I mean, that's wild stuff. So I would just say treat it like a major.
Yeah, and I mean, look, you're never going to go wrong in DraftKings if you can somehow get 6 freaking major winners in your lineup. You know what I mean? Even if Cantlay has got a 6-shot lead over him. Like I said, those guys are able to find lightning in a bottle and make some streaks for you. Bones DK, it's been a little over a year, actually. The COVID crisis kind of threw us all for a loop, and that's when we started really getting serious about fantasy golf. This is the last cast of the season. I don't know how much we'll be doing the silly season. I know we have some content ideas and things like that we're going to keep the listeners up to date with, but just an overall assessment of your feelings right now about, the community that we've created and the success that we've had, and how do you feel about the future?
Man, this has been probably the best year of my life, honestly, and I don't think it's ending here. Wildman and I talk a lot, and we figured out this formula. We draft players. We talk a lot, man, and honestly, I don't think there's anything stopping us. Believe in Bones DK Golf. We're here for the people, for you guys. The amount of people that have been texting me, calling me, showing me screenshots of winners, it makes me feel so good. I mean, when I see Kobe win for 15K, I don't even care what I win sometimes. I'm just so happy for him. You got Ben Finn over in London. You got guys down in Florida. You got guys over in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's so cool to see. Keep it up, and we will keep putting out content as much as we can. DM me anything. This has been the funnest year I've ever had in my life, and this is not over. This is just the beginning. I can promise you guys. Let's keep it up.
What can you add to that, Wildman?
The only thing I'll add is that we're doing this for free. Like, this is our own time and effort. We've produced this free content for the fans to try to help them win money, right? I mean, we're not competing. We're trying to help everybody lift trophies and stack their bank accounts. And like Rob said, we've done it with so many people: Bishop, Finn, Covey, Wolfgo, Golf Guy yourself with 4-digit cashes. The list goes on and on. And so we're doing it for you guys. We put a lot of time and effort into this and researching it and putting this whole program together, which Golf Guy's a big producer of. So credit to that too. But we're going to keep doing it. And like Rob said, reach out at any time. We've got aces in the hole in most tournaments because we've watched them. We've been to a bunch of them. And, we're planning on having an even better year this year.
Yeah, we will come up with, at the end of the season here, once we finish the Tour Championship, we will come up with a ledger. And we will put those winners up there that we had throughout the last year. We can go back on our Twitter and find them. But you're right. The screenshots that we've got and the retweets and all that from all over the world and all over the country have just been fantastic. And we absolutely appreciate, I certainly appreciate, and I know the boys do also, appreciate everybody listening and everybody getting on board with us. Cheat sheet at all for this one, Bones DK?
Yeah, I'll put a cheat sheet out, and maybe not. I mean, there's only 30 guys. I'll put a cheat sheet out. I know a lot of people like that. But hey guys, keep following, keep sharing, keep liking, especially keep sharing. Thank you so much. Let's get the fans up. Thank you, Pat Mayo, for the shout outs all the time. He's the one that started all this. Joe Andrew Wiggins, all those guys. Hopefully they get us on board here soon, and we start making all you guys money with good stuff.
Well, we do have one more treat for the listening audience. That'll be this Sunday. You'll have to get up early if you want to see it, or else go back on your Twitter timeline. But we will have plenty of Soch from the Golden Nectar Bonenberger Family Reunion Tournament that we're going to be having this weekend in Tiltonsville, Ohio. And you know what? I know I hear a lot of people talk about blue-collar golf courses, and I'm a member at one of them here at Sunnycroft Country Club in Clarksburg, West Virginia, one of the best in the world. There is no more of a blue-collar kind of golf course than the Fairway River Links in Tiltonsville, Ohio. And we are looking forward to it. We'll have plenty of Soch. Check out your Twitter, check out your Instagram. I don't know that we can stream it, but we will be posting for sure. Wildman, I know we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I made a bet last night, maybe not in my sharpest frame of mind, that I would drive the green on one, at least pin high, if not on the surface. So we'll
it's
see
like
how
a
that goes.
335-yard
I mean,
hole.
we had bets flying, and me and Dad were like, "Are you serious? Like, let's go." I don't think it's ever
a lot of stake.
There'll be a lot of betting. There will be a lot of legal beverages. We get out there early. We're the first guys out there. We show up about 6:30. There will be some legal beverages that early in the morning. We're mountaineers. You know how that works. And then we're going to watch I guess NFL won't be on this weekend, but we will watch Maryland WVU the day before. So we're going to get some football in, some hanging out. It's going to be fantastic. Any final thoughts, Bones DK, before we sign off?
I'm thinking about maybe we get a football show up going, and keep Bones DK sports going, tennis or football. Let's keep it going. I mean, this is not the end. This is just the beginning.
We absolutely have more content ideas. We've been talking a lot about it. Wildman, anything before we sign off, man?
No, I'm just going to give a shout out to Lloyd and Shib. I think they're two loyal listeners as well. And I'll tell you this too. We were watching tennis last night, and it was the U.S. Open live footage on TV. They had 12 different tennis matches being broadcast at the same exact time. My thought was I can't even get two golfers swinging a
Yeah.
club at the same time. I can't imagine how much better that would be if they were able to develop what the viewers want. But
I'm not
anyways,
going
right?
to gang up. I'm not going to gang up on the PGA Tour coverage. I know it's been bad, but like the golf Twitter is just like so like trendy that's all anybody wants to talk about. It has been bad, but let's just say this: instead of calling it bad, there could just be so much more potential for golf on broadcast television, and certainly with the internet and social media, there's just so much more potential that we could have. All
And
right.
that's just a great teacher's take. Let's just look at the positive, guys, and
Yeah.
let's just.
Well, you know what?
You're doing
I'll tell you what
great.
I'm sick of. I'm sick of people complaining on Twitter about golf broadcasting. These like wannabe content creators that are just like, I just got to get on board. I got to latch my wagon to whatever golf Twitter is talking about today.
Yeah.
And they all came out of the closet this past week when they thought Bryson was going to win. And all of a sudden they're like, man, Bryson's all of a sudden a really good guy. Boy, Bryson's a great golfer. Boy, Bryson this, Bryson that. Meanwhile, the reason he's not talking to the media is because of shitheads like them that are taking every single word the guy says, no matter if it's genuine or authentic, and twisting it to meet their own agenda. It's crap. It's lame, and it's a growing community, this golf community is, but there's a bunch of fakes out there, a bunch of fakes that can't play 100 rounds in one season. You better watch out.
I was going to say, wait until the very end of the PGA Tour season for Edge's most boiling hot take. Hey, what's in the koozie, by the way, Edge?
Bud Light. Bud Light. Hey, as Bones DK said, there's a lot more of this to come, hopefully, maybe even in football season. We'll find out. We're going to sign off right now, though. I appreciate Bones DK and Wildman also letting me be part of this, man. I'm just an analyst with some lukewarm takes.
Probably had a good take on Rory.
I did text you guys personally on that one. Anyhow, enough banter. Thanks so much for listening, guys. He is BonesDKGolf. Follow him on Twitter. He is TWMan66. I'm Golf Guy WV. Thank you guys so much for listening, and stay tuned to Bones Brothers Media. We got a lot going on.
Let's end this season strong. Let's do it.
Thanks.
LFG. Thanks, Edge.